Hi, I'm Dan Weedin. Welcome to Weedin Unleashed. Today is, I think it's September 28th. I think it is. Today is Monday, September the 28th. It's hard to believe that we are just days away from entering the final quarter of 2015. Thank you for joining me. I see Pam is on the line, said hello. Hello to you too. I think I'm trying to figure out what I just did there on the questions, but hello to you too. So I know I've got at least a couple people out there and listening live. Some of you may be watching this later. Thank you all who are joining me today. I see Dave just posted a question here too. So, hey, what do you know? We've got things off and rolling. Before I get into my topic and the questions, just really briefly, for those of you who may be watching this for the first time, I do this broadcast every Monday at noon Pacific time. So it's 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's recorded. It's on my YouTube channel, which is www.danweedin.tv. I encourage you to join me every week, as Dave and Pam have, because it gives us a chance to talk about questions that you might have, or take your comments. I'm all about being interactive in this, and I hope you will join us. So again, we're going to do this almost every Monday. Now, next Monday, I do want to say I will not be able to do Weedin Unleashed. Next Monday's okay. It's the Monday after, or no, it is next Monday, Columbus Day. Next Monday, I will actually be attending my annual Columbus Day luncheon for our local college foundation here, as many people in the area do. So I will not be joining you. It is a holiday, and I do have an event to go to. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. But today I'm happy to be with you, and let's get right to the topic, and then I'll get to some of Dave's questions here. And Pam, if you have any, or anybody else out there, now's a great time to send them in. So my topic today, which came out on my extra points, was related to the recent visit to the United States by Pope Francis. I'm Catholic, and so I followed it pretty closely just because I was really interested. But from a more global perspective, I was fascinated at some of the reactions to him by people who weren't Catholic, and in some cases weren't even religious. And one that came up, it was a comment that was shared by somebody that I know on Facebook, and it went something like this. It had a picture of Pope Francis, and the gentleman indicates, says, "I'm an atheist, but I like this guy." And I thought, that's really interesting. Here is somebody whose faith is not having a faith, and that's fine. That's certainly his prerogative, but his faith is not having a faith. Yet he was taken by a guy who is the head of maybe the largest, I think the largest Christian denomination in the world, and is seen as such, and is given that type of gravitas. I just found that fascinating. And so as I looked a little bit deeper and thought of it from a business standpoint, what can we learn from that? And excuse me, I have an itch in my nose. That's what happens. That's what happens on a live broadcast. If the Pope could have the effect on even one person to say, wow, I don't believe in God, but I really like this guy. I like what he stands for. What can we in our business learn from it to get people who don't know us, who have no idea what our product or what our service is, and may not even care or think they don't care? How do we get them to care about us, to say, I really like that guy, I really like that lady? How do you do that? Or I'm really interested in this. I started thinking about it from the perspective of a lot of my work revolves around resiliency management. I spend a lot of time working with clients, both individually and as an organization, in becoming resilient, in dealing with crisis and dealing with disaster, and how do you recover and how do you sustain. That's a lot of the work I do. And it's not a very sexy topic. It's not something that people really want to know about. I have to be able to become an object of interest. I have to be not only somebody that people would trust, they have to have a certain level of like and see things that I'm doing, whether it's speeches, whether it's publishing, whether it's even doing something like this on a video. I have to be able to get them to a point emotionally, because emotion makes people act, logic makes people think, emotions make people act, to emotionally say, I want to learn more. Enough about me, let's talk about you. Do some introspection right now. Do a little bit of a self-assessment. Are you doing things that make you an object of interest? Here's some examples. Can you offer a contrarian view? My professional mentor, Alan Weiss, has made a career about being a contrarian. In fact, that's the name of his blog, is The Contrarian Consultant. He offers contrarian views, not just because they're contrarian, but he has a point on them. He has a new way of looking at things by offering a contrarian view. If you're always offering the same view as everybody else, then you're not going to be viewed as an object of interest. My challenge to you is take what you're talking about and offer a view that's different. It's contrarian. It's out of the box thinking. It's clever. It's cutting edge. That's one way that you can become an object of interest. Pope Francis did it in some of the messages that he's given. Without changing doctrine, he's changed the focus. And so that makes him more endearing than maybe his predecessors. Or at least it's been given that perception. People are more interested. What about you? What can you do in your business, in what value you give to make you look a little bit different? So you have to be bold. You have to be contrarian. You have to be able to step outside the box fearlessly. If you have fear of rejection, if you have fear of failure, if you have fear of how you're going to be perceived, that's going to hold you back. I'm one of my volunteer things right now is I'm working with a group of young people. A fellow Rotarian has a group of young people that his daughter and son have been part of, working on public speaking. They do public speaking competitions, and Richard knew that I was active and am active in Toastmasters and done a lot of competitions, and he asked me if I could help, and that's one of my pro bono deals and gigs, is that I'm helping some young people with speaking. Well, the very first class, I just asked people, you know, what scares you? What are some of the things that hold you back on public speaking? What are your concerns? And a lot of it came out of fear of looking bad, fear of what people might say. So fear holds us back. What is fear holding you back from being bold and being a different voice and being out of the box? Because if it is, you're not going to become an object of interest. So my whole point today is, what can you do? If Pope Francis can in just a 1 week visit to the United States, make such an impact because he's done things a little bit differently, he says things a little bit differently, his doctrine's all the same, nothing's changed, but his persona is different for a number of different reasons, to the point that you get people who aren't Catholic saying, I really like this guy. You get people who don't even believe in God say, I like this guy. That should be a lesson for us. And this isn't a religious soapbox I'm on, other than the religion of your career, of your business. How can you become more intriguing so that people say, I really need to know who this person is because I think they can help me? So what I'd like to do at this point, Dave's had a question up here from the beginning. I know Pam is out there as well. So Pam, if you have a question or a comment, or anybody else, I see a few others out there. If anybody else has a comment or a question, this is a great time to ask, because I'm going to go over here and see what Dave asked. He said, how much effort should you put into your brand when you're starting? Do you use anything, kind of quotation marks there, as a start then after you develop yourself, refocus and represent that brand, or should you wait until you believe it's the most accurate image? I'm going to try to break that down, Dave, and if I missed the mark, let me know. But I think really your first question was what you're asking. How much effort should you put into your brand? And really, I think you're asking, does it need to be perfect? And what if it's not the beginning? And how does that work? So let's talk about brand in general. So let's just say that you're a consultant, or you're a speaker, you're a business coach, you're a professional service provider, okay? You're a professional service provider, and your service is your value. And your brand is really that value manifested into how you help other people. So whatever your brand is, it's you. You know, you are your brand. And I think the most important thing that you can look at is say, this is a living entity, this brand. You should spend a tremendous amount of time marketing your brand in the very beginning. How much effort should you put into your brand when you're starting? All your effort. Because when you're starting, that's all you have. You probably don't even have clients yet when you're starting. You know, you have to put all of your effort into what your brand is. And your brand is, if you're going to be contrarian on a subject, if you're going to bring a different perspective, what's the value that comes out of that? What's the value that comes out of that? That's your brand. It's a manifestation of the value that you provide. So you should be spending maximum effort on that. And you should be spending a lot of effort so that people can know who you are. That means getting out into whether it be social media or press releases or speaking or meeting people. You need to get in front of people. So as you develop yourself, you refocus and represent your brand. The most accurate image, I'm not sure what that means. Your most accurate image is where you are today. If this isn't about perfection. Nobody's ever going to have a perfect brand. And so you can't wait. You need to put out who you are today and what your brand is. And that brand may shift and change. Here's an example. Apple. 30 years ago when I was in high school and going into college, you had the Macintosh, that you had the beginning Macintosh. I just lost the name. The Commodore 64. That's what Apple was known for. And over the course of the last 30 years, Apple has shifted and changed. You might have an Apple computer, or you might have an iPhone. I mean, went from iPod to iPhones. You've got iPads, and really, Apple has now changed a lot of its brand to be dealing with digital music and now a TV. Their brand continues to progress over time as they innovate and as they change. The same is true with you. You're going to change over time. In the 10 years I've been in business, my brand has changed. And that's okay. You need to be able to change with it, refocus, repurpose, represent, because your accurate image is what you are today. Dave, I hope that helped. You can feel free to note down as if I hit it on the head, or if I missed somewhat. If I missed, please re-ask and we'll get that settled. But I'm a big believer that your brand is what it is today, and you're always working to strengthen it. In the beginning, when you get started, you have a lot of time to do that. It sometimes gets harder as you build your client base, but it should always be what you are striving to do. You're always looking to be innovative, to be bold, and to be different. Otherwise, why would somebody stay in tune, whether it's in your website, whether it's watching a video, whether it's reading an article, whether it's watching you speak, whatever the case might be. Excuse me 1 second. I guess it's allergy season. Dave said on target. Thank you. Appreciate that. So anyway, that's today. I think we can learn lessons from things that go around us. If we look at people who have been successful, what is it that they're doing that makes them successful? Not that you have to copy them. Rather, you should be looking at how that might work into your world. It's really important to continually be looking at what your individual brand is, why you're different, and how you help people. And by the way, really quick comment. I read something this morning. I didn't think I was going to bring it up because I didn't think about it until now. Alan Weiss has a Monday morning newsletter, and I read it. It was about Volkswagen. If you followed the news, the issue around the recalls and the cheat, not the recalls much, but Volkswagen, the company, having some challenges with doing things illegally when it came to safety. But one of the points that Alan made, which I think is really spot on, is that Volkswagen is having problems because Volkswagen cheated. Well, Volkswagen's an entity. Humans cheated. The brand is being damaged because individual humans cheated. The brand didn't, the company didn't do anything. So when you're looking at yourself my correlation is if you're looking at yourself individually, the brand is you. You're the only one, whether you have a corporation, whether you have employees, whether, some of you watching this may have employees and you think of yourself as the company. Well, the reality is it's you. People do business with you. When I was in sales, people bought from me. They didn't really buy from my company. They purchased from me. So keep that in mind as you're looking to create your own brand, your own image, and your own style. Okay, that's all I got. So I'm going to give some final thoughts, and if you have any questions, if you're out there, shoot them at me. Number one, I won't be back next week because it is Columbus Day. I know everybody doesn't celebrate Columbus Day, but I do by going to an annual college foundation lunch, and I'll be there during this time. So I won't be back next week. Well, you will have extra points. If you want to get extra points, my newsletter, and you're not getting it now, go to my website at danweedin.com or email me at dan@danweedin.com. Let's get you on. I'm also easy to find in cyberspace. I've got Twitter, which is at Dan Weedin. I've got danweedin.tv, which is my YouTube channel. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Instagram. I'm ubiquitous. I'm all over the place. So you can find me there. And, I'm always open to hear your thoughts and suggestions. Final thing that I'll throw out there is my new book, Unleashed Leadership, comes out at the end of this week. I'm really excited about it. My publisher's putting the final touches on it, and it's coming out. If you're in a position of influence, if you're in the leadership position or desire to be, or if you know people who are and want to recommend it, if you're a consultant and you're in business and you're trying to become more influential and become, to boost your career and maximize your talent, this is a good book for you. It's called Unleashed Leadership. It has a pre-order going on right now, 40% discount. You can go to my website again and order that. And love to have you do it. I'm signing all of the pre-orders. It's $12.95 right now. It'll normally be $19.95. So that's it for now. I don't see any more questions. Thank you for taking part and being part of this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it later. I will not see you next week, but I will be back in 2 weeks, and I look forward to having you join me then. Ciao.